The EU has survived a lot more than Brexit. Obviously, Brexit is a huge blow. We came in late. We were not one of the founding members. If a founding member left, Italy, even the Netherlands, obviously Belgium, Luxembourg, France, Germany, if any of the big founding members left, that would be potentially terminal. And not just because of their geographic continuity, but the whole theory of it and the idea of it. Britain's skepticism about skepticism about continued European integration, the idea that a bit of integration needs to lead inevitably to a bit more integration. I think this is what terrified the Brits at some point. They'd realized that what they thought had become a single market was becoming a social market and maybe a political union and a fiscal union. This realization that it wasn't just joining something and then it stopped. You were joining a process, a project, as it's often called in the UK and in continental Europe. This project pre-existed Britain, and with Britain out, in some ways, it's almost easier to continue. Coming out of the COVID crisis, or trying to come out of the COVID crisis, the EU took yet another big step forward. And it's a step, borrowing money on the international markets to create a COVID recovery fund, that would probably not have been possible if the UK had still been a member of the EU. So in fact, the UK pulling out has almost enabled the EU, not almost, did enable the EU to pull forward and take another incremental step of greater unification. At the same time, the skeptical view of the EU and of the European project of deeper integration continues without the UK. What are now called the frugal four, those who are skeptical about larger EU budgets, mostly Nordic countries, Austria, the Netherlands, Sweden, Germany, some parts of the German political camp definitely have sympathy with it. They have taken up the baton of being skeptical about a deeper financial and tax integration. And Central and Eastern European countries, Poland, Hungary, the Czech Republic, have taken up the skepticism about deeper political integration and expansion. So the big difference, however, is that I don't think there's any other EU member state that could afford to leave the EU because it would be too dangerous either for their security, for their identity, or for their economic survival. I really do believe the UK, just as it was like one of the few countries that could afford not to join at the beginning, is one of the few countries that was able to afford to leave when it did.